From Sabalenka to Djokovic and animals in the zoo. Here are the best quotes from the Australian Open 2026. The 2026 Australian Open has provided some remarkable tennis across the board, but it has also seen some memorable quotes, both good and bad. Despite world number one and this year's runner-up Aryna Sabalenka saying, "I don't want to talk about tennis," we do. So here are some of the best quotes of the tournament. Animals in the zoo. American star Coco Gauff suggested players do not have enough privacy at the AO after vision of her smashing a racket was broadcast on television. Gauff had just lost her quarterfinal in straight sets to Ukraine's Aryna Sabalenka and journeyed down the tunnels to smash her racket away from cameras, or so she thought. "I tried to go somewhere where they wouldn't broadcast it, but obviously they did," she said. "Maybe some conversations can be had because I feel like at this tournament, the only private place we have is the locker room." Other players came out in support of Gauff's sentiments, including Iga Swiatek. "It's not our job to be a meme when you forget your accreditation. Oh, it's funny, for sure. People have something to talk about, but for us I don't think it's necessary." Novak Djokovic added to the debate, saying, "I'm surprised that we have no cameras while we are taking a shower. That's probably the next step." Old man wants a cut of ticket sales. While we're talking about Djokovic, remember what he said after his insane 5-set win over defending champion Jannik Sinner in the semifinal. "I'm an old man. I need to go earlier to sleep," he said after the semifinal ended way past his self-prescribed bedtime. Djokovic also made a cheeky joke that he wanted 10% of tonight's tickets sold because of the entertaining match he and Sinner put on. We're not sure that's how it works, though. After the other semifinal between Alexander Zverev and Carlos Alcaraz, the German said he wasn't a fan of how the Spaniard utilized murky medical timeout rules. Alcaraz was allowed a medical timeout late in the third set of the intense match for what he said was an adductor issue, but what many believe looked more like cramp. He said the injury was very painful, but it wasn't going to force him to retire because he hates giving up. "I always say you have to believe in yourself no matter what," Alcaraz said. That's a nice motivational quote. Legends say thanks. Stan Wawrinka has long been a favorite here at Melbourne Park, probably even before his breakthrough Grand Slam title at the 2014 Australian Open. But he bid farewell to the Slam after losing to 9th seed Taylor Fritz in the third round. Wawrinka fought back tears as he sat on his bench after the match, before joining tournament director Craig Tiley on the court to thank an adoring crowd and sign off his Open career in the most Australian way possible. "First of all, thank you to Craig for the wildcard invitation. Not the first time," he said. "I'm sad to leave, but it's been an amazing journey." To sign off for good, he grabbed 2 beers from his bag, gave one to Tiley and cracked the other himself. "Cheers everybody, and thank you so much." The 2026 Open even marked a goodbye for Frenchman Gael Monfils, who lost in the first round to Aussie Dane Sweeney. "For me, my journey here with you guys started in 2003, when I came here for the first time," Monfils said. "Now we are in 2026 and somehow it is the finish line, but thank you so much for this amazing ride." Domino's wedding confession. The trouble with being part of a tennis power couple is keeping the personal and professional separate, as Alex Domino found out after his win over America's Francis Tiafoe during the third round. A relieved Domino spoke to Jim Courier on court post-match, and after taking a few questions about his win and his opponent, talk soon turned to planning for his wedding to English tennis player Katie Boulter, which will take place this year. Australian Open 2026. Voices from Melbourne. A slam of identity, passion, privacy, and legacy. In the early days of February, in the imperious heat and ceaseless energy of Melbourne Park, another chapter of tennis history was written at the Australian Open, not only through winners and losers, but through the words that emerged from the mouths of its players. Hey, at the very start of the season, the sport's biggest personalities didn't just play. They spoke. They shared sentiment, defiance, frustration, humor, reflection, and sometimes raw honesty that illuminated not just the state of the tournament, but the state of the sport itself. The 2026 Australian Open will be remembered not only for its thrilling rallies and historic results, but for the stories told between the lines of the scoreboard, the best quotes that captured the human drama of tennis. I don't want to talk about tennis. Aryna Sabalenka, world number 1, slugger serious competitor and finalist, uttered one of the most striking lines of the tournament not during a devastating rally or a dramatic break of serve, but in response to a question. I don't want to talk about tennis. Sabalenka's succinct refusal to engage, blunt, almost bored, said more than any elaborate press conference monologue ever could. It was insouciant, dismissive even, but it revealed a truth beneath the polished surface of elite sport. Sometimes players just feel exhausted. Maybe it was a symptom of pressure, of frustration at a final that slipped through her fingers, or simply the emotional fatigue of a fortnight of relentless scrutiny. Nonetheless, it remains one of the most candid and unforgettable quotes of the tournament, a mirror to athlete vulnerability. Those 6 words stayed with fans and commentators alike. In an era where athletes are expected to be endlessly articulate ambassadors for their sport, Sabalenka's refusal was a kind of provocation. It asked a question: how much of an athlete's inner world should belong to us, the consumers of sport? Are we tennis players, or are we animals in the zoo? This was the quote that dominated headlines and social media debate, and for good reason. It came not from a winner, but from a collective moment of vulnerability, sparked by a situation at once mundane and profound. Coco Gauff, after a hard-fought quarterfinal loss, retreated somewhere she thought was private to smash her racket in frustration. A raw, unguarded human reaction most athletes feel but rarely display in public. Little did she know that cameras, everywhere, captured it anyway. The incident ignited a firestorm of conversation about athlete privacy. Players, often expected to be public figures every second they are on site, began to question the boundary between performance and personal space. Iga Swiatek did not mince words. The question is, are we tennis players or are we animals in the zoo, where they are observed even when they poop? A phrase as stark as it was startling. This visceral metaphor, of athletes likened to zoo inhabitants, hit a nerve. It exposed the tension at the heart of modern sport. Fans crave ever closer access, perspective, and connection. Yet players, like all humans, crave moments away from the spotlight. The image of being observed even while doing something as private as relieving oneself, though hyperbolic, underscored how far the gaze can penetrate.